Hey everybody, I'm going to attempt to work through problems 1 through 6 on page 376 from your books with you. Again, 1 through 6 on page 376. I'd like you to get out a sheet of scrap paper or possibly a whiteboard to follow along with me as I do this. I want you to do this with me. Box plots are tricky. Once you catch on, they won't be bad, but it's going to take a few days. So we're going to use my chalkboard just so I have a little bit more room. So problem 1 says that Sarah's scores on tests were a 79, a 75, an 82, a 90, a 73, an 82, a 78, a 85, and another 78. And they want us to find the median. So we have done this already. So what I did was for number 1, I put the numbers in order and I did my cross-off method. And some of you are wondering, why do I have so many crosses on there? Let's just worry about the median right now. 79 is right in the middle. I have an odd amount of numbers, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers to the right. When there's an odd amount of numbers, you don't have to find the average, and that is my median. Then for number 2, it asks for the first quartile. So what you're basically doing for the first quartile is you are taking the numbers that come before the median and you're finding the middle of those. There are 4 numbers that come before the median. That's an even amount. So I have to find the middle of 75 and 78. That number would be 76.5. You can do that any way you want. I suggest you add these 2 numbers together and then divide by 2, and the first quartile is 76.5. And then for number 3, the third quartile. Again, I find my median. I'm not worried about any of these numbers. I'm only worried about these numbers that come after the median. And that's why I crossed off the 2 numbers, 82 and 90. And I have to find the middle of 82 and 85. So I add those up, divide by 2, and my third quartile is 83.5. Now for actually drawing the box plot. So number 4 in the book says, what would be a good scale to use for a number line that would include Sarah's scores? So our scale is based off of our range. Since we're going from 73 to 90, if you had a lot of room on a sheet of paper, you could count by 1s or 2s, but because I have a lack of space here, I said it'd be a good idea to count by 5s. That is not the only answer that is acceptable there. Again, a scale basically talks about the consistent numbers that we're going to count by to graph our data. Then number 5 in the book says, what values are included inside the box plot? And we're going to talk more about this as the week goes, but basically it's the first through the third quartiles. Okay, the first through the third quartile. So first, second, and third. Okay, so now drawing the box plot. All right, here's what I would suggest doing first. So number 6 wants you to draw it. I put our scale there, counting by 5s. The first thing I always tell kids to do in the box plot is to do the second quartile, which is your median. And I'm going to put that at 79 because our median was 79. I'm going to put another line where the first quartile was, which was 76.5. And again, these aren't going to be perfect. Okay, we're just kind of estimating where they would go. Sorry about the chalk marks there. And then for the third quartile, 83.5, I go on my line here, a little bit past the halfway point between 80 and 85, and I'll put another line. Then you are going to connect these, and that's your box. You have your first quartile, your second quartile, and your third quartile. Okay, now the last thing you need for the box plot is your minimum, which is your lowest number. Our lowest number was 73. I'm going to put a dot right where 73 would go. Our biggest number, and our biggest number on our list was 90. I'm going to put a dot where 90 would go. You connect these, and that is a box plot. Minimum, first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, maximum. And this shows how our data in this set of numbers is arranged. And again, we'll be working on this over the next few days. I don't expect you to have mastery of it today. What I would like you to do for my next video is try 7 and 8 on your own. I'm going to walk you guys through that in a separate video. It is not a grade, but it is very important that you try these problems and are working through these to get into practice. Okay, so the next video will show how to do 7 and 8, get you started. Again, not a grade, do great.